Hey, so we're going to talk about what just happened today as well as yesterday for the EFL Cup rounds. Okay, there's a couple things I just want to talk about. One is I know that my last reaction video with after week 2 with Man United, I talked about how I was still an Amorim in. I'm still an Amorim in, and I have reason to believe this because I think, if I'm honest, you guys need to go through it, literally, back the team, as Man United fans. You guys need to back the team, and you need to be supportive. The Man United fan base is toxic at the moment and is extremely critical. And I understand that's because of the lofty expectations of what Man United is. It's a footballing institution in the country. So I understand where that comes from. But you guys, are you there or are you not? Because what I'm watching as a Wolves supporter, as a third party in this scenario, what I'm watching is a giant devolving, right? I'm watching you devolve, and there needs to be a leveling of where are you guys at? How good are you? Because if I'm honest, you've been like this for quite a while now. And look, last year when you guys stunk and you guys were finished 16th or something like that, I cheered it on because I don't care about the big teams going down, right? This Grimsby performance genuinely made me sympathize with Man United fans. I'm dead serious. That was so pathetic that it made me pissed off for Man United fans. Watching some of these Man United players play made me angry for Man United fans. And again, I'm a Wolves supporter. I have no dog in this fight. I literally was watching. I was like, yo, I was it's beyond belief. So, here's my point. The thing is, you gotta level with yourself. You're going through this rigmarole of every so often. It's maybe every season, maybe every second season, 18 months, whatever it is. And you guys go through this thing where you're like, oh, this manager sucks. We got to get rid of him. The players don't like him, blah, 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 blah. And that's what that is. I remember a big team that would kind of go through the same thing. They would keep going through this same rigmarole, and then they finally figured it out. And then now they're considered extremely good. And that's PSG. PSG went through this whole rigmarole of all this crap about just basically the players not buying in, being prima donnas, also the crap, right? I mean, look, you had players like Neymar and Kylian Mbappe who are, they love the spotlight. They're big star addicts. And, I would consider Dembele as one of those, but he kind of matured, right? He kind of matured as a player, right? Rather than when he was at Barcelona. And then they figured it out and they became, they won the Champions League. And the thing is, you guys are not Tottenham, okay? You guys cut your scouting department, I think, this summer. Not like you guys are really using it. You don't really have any data analytics. So you're not going to be like a Brentford or Brighton who's picking out these little gems out of nowhere. But what I don't understand though is you guys are extremely reactionary but that's all front office. The recruiting issue is a front office issue, right? And I sympathize there because that's that. But that's not what we're talking about today, because on a game by game basis, you can still give a shit and it could work out. So let's but my last piece here is you guys have just been falling off forever now, right? Ange Postecoglou won a league title, right? 2, the players really were sad about Ange Postecoglou leaving, and they still believed in him, right? That Thomas Frank, because I'm seeing all these comparisons of Frank and Amorim and stuff like that, and Frank, they're like, oh, Frank can figure it out in the summer, and Amorim can't do it for 9 months. These two positions are totally different. Tottenham is on a high because they won a Europa League, and two, they the players really believed in Ange and they really liked him, right? I understand that like some of the board got rid of him, and sometimes the fans would be really frustrated with him because of just how bad the season was and whatnot. But the players still believed in the project largely. And you guys are not on that page. You guys haven't picked a project yet. Like that's what you guys have been devolving and regressing and eroding for over a decade now. And it's like, dude, there's a point where you got to pick a horse and you got to ride. You got to run the race, like, and you got to actually see what the manager wants to do and then like create it. And like you got to go through some dark days. I don't know if it'll be Amorim, like, because again, I'm not saying like Amorim's going to be like the guy who's going to be in all the time. He might not be now because I mean the calls to get rid of him are so loud now. So yeah, but I think he should send a message in the Burnley game, like maybe benching players and say like, if you don't want to maybe not call out players, but like you don't need to maybe necessarily do that, but like you could just put them on the bench. You could just or leave them out of the squad. And I think that just sends enough of a message, right? It's right before the everybody leaving. But there's a lot of players who don't want to be here anymore. And again, how many managers are we talking about? Like when it comes to like, they say like open heart surgery in terms of the culture and the environment and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, where are you guys? Like, it's like a large part of it is Garnacho and Rashford and Tyrell Malacia. Like, but you got more players in there that also are kind of whingy. So, let's look at these quotes are insane. But if you have not watched this is one of the craziest interviews I've ever watched from a manager. Just like Antonio, I'm talking about like Antonio Conte calling out the board, right? Like I'm talking about Mourinho talking about football heritage, like, and getting pissed off about that. Like this interview right here is one of those interviews that will stick in my mind like for a long time about how crazy this interview is. It's genuinely, if you've not done it, I would 100% say go do that. I think the team and the players have spoke really loud today. That's it. We lost. The best team won, and obviously Grimsby won, right? And he said, and the reporter's like, "What do you mean by really loud?" And he goes, "It's really clear what they spoke. Let's move on from this day. I think it's really clear for everybody about what happened. It's not just the space, but the way we started the game without any intensity. All the ideas of pressure were completely lost. It's hard to explain, but that's what they spoke really loud." Yeah, so obviously everybody's like, "Oh, we lost the locker room, so we got to get rid of them now." Possibly. I mean, I'm going to say possibly. I obviously, I'm just somebody on the internet screaming into the void, but the thing is, like, my point is with like Man United fans, I'm like, are you going to level with yourselves? Like, because you guys have been doing this forever, and I'm just like, you've picked the players every single time. Like, you're like, get rid of the manager, get rid of the manager, get rid of the manager, right? And I think I always sneeze on camera. And I'm just like, and again, it might be the right call to actually get rid of him, just saying. But the thing is, like, that interview is shocking to hear. It's a shocking interview. I also want to just say this. I don't know if I've ever watched a team like, okay, before we get into this, I've watched managers, go on bad runs and the players like lose confidence themselves. I've watched games where they do lock the players, like the locker room is out and the manager is like, and the locker room do not agree. And, every time you see stuff like that, usually the team gets blown out and it's usually like, that's when like the axe falls, right? And the thing is, like, usually what you're watching is the player dropping that extra 3 to 5%, 6%. And it's because, they're professional athletes playing at an extremely high level, that if you drop even 1%, like you're going to lose the game. But then you drop like 3 to 5%. Now you're letting in 3-4 goals or something like that, or 5 goals. And it's like, now it's like an embarrassing loss. You kind of got killed, but like, you're not like, but when you look at the performance, it's just like sloppy, or like they just didn't give that little extra impetus, to like actually close down the player or whatever it is. This game, I am telling you right now, I have never watched a game like this, where I think the players genuinely wanted, like they played to get Amorim in trouble. They played to get Amorim fired. Like where they're like actively, not actively, it's like they are playing to sabotage. Like I don't know if I've ever watched something like this, because it's so wild to see. First off, here's the starting lineup, right? We got Benjamin Šeško, who's an Amorim player, got brought in. Same with Cunha, right? Ugarte was brought in the January transfer window, the season prior. Same with Dorgu. Okay, good. Kobbie Mainoo, he is. I think he was he brought in last season, 2022. Okay, no. So he's he's got like he was there before. He's under the Ten Hag. He started coming through. Diogo Dalot, obviously not. He's been there for a while. Fredrickson, 20-year-old, youth player. Aiden Heaven. Actually, I think he had a decent game too. Considering he's 18 years old, he's a youth player. Harry Maguire starts, of course. And then Andre Onana, as we all know. At halftime, he brings on 3 players, Mbeumo, Fernandes, and Matthijs de Ligt, right? Mason Mount comes on later, and then Xerxes comes on like towards the end of the game. Xerxes didn't do anything. He's a Ten Hag player. Just putting that in mind again, right? Mason Mount is like two guys ago, right? Fernandes has been for a long time ago, but he's now the captain of the team. De Ligt has actually been playing decent. I got to be honest. He's been playing decent since the season started, and he's a starter for normally the games. Brian Mbeumo was obviously Amorim's guy. So, yeah. So I just want to put that out there. Fredrickson and Heaven are like, just they're young. They're like they're not even like bled in at this level. Like, so anyway, I'm gonna let them off, right? But I will say, is Heaven put in like a heck of a display of just like actually caring. He's still green. He's 18 years old, but like But what I can say though is that like these 3, Ahmad, Dalot, and Mainoo, couldn't care, don't care whatsoever. He doesn't. I think Maguire has just a general care about. I think he's not necessarily playing for the team, but I think he's playing for himself, for a little bit of pride. He's 32, so he's at the end of his career. Hasn't really gotten that many games. He's still thinking about probably the England squad as well. That's that. Ugarte does not want to be there. Dorgu probably doesn't want to be there either. Because getting subbed off at half is like pretty damning, if I'm honest. And they're kind of his guys now. So there's got to be some kind of disagreement. Actually, I'm sure. You know what? I bet I can. Hold on. Let's go back to the previous games here. Let's look at these starting 11s. Dorgu, okay. Fernandes, Casemiro. Interesting, right? Interesting. Let's go back to Arsenal game. Dorgu, okay. Fernandes and Casemiro. Okay, so, Ugarte gets subs on at the 65th minute in the Arsenal game. I didn't look at the Fulham game. 16, so he got 20 minutes in there. So, I just, yeah, it's like, Ugarte was a very clear, Ugarte was clear to me that he also, I'm gonna lump him in. I'm gonna say it's both these guys, Ahmad and Dalot. I was gonna say all four of them, right? So anyways, the point is, going into this, right? This is the first goal, right? Ball comes in, Aiden Heaven closes down, right? Doesn't close down hard enough, just letting you know. But the thing is, this is Fredrickson, this is Harry Maguire, right? I think this is Dalot and Kobbie Mainoo here, and literally nobody here. Diogo Dalot was up here for on the wing, at the start of this, but then it obviously came all the way back down. Basically jogged back to defense, nowhere. Ball obviously gets delivered in. Guy puts it down, puts it in, right? Dalot runs in like into frame. Like, I mean into frame, like when he's taking the shot. That's like how late he was. This one. This is actually way more egregious this is actually the most egregious thing I think I've ever seen. This is Kobbie Mainoo here. Okay. Clean back line here. Okay. Ball was just like up in the air. It was like these guys all together, right? And ball pops out. It comes out to this guy. Now, Fredrickson, who's a 20-year-old youth player, basically like points out saying like, hey man, are you going to get him? Like a youth player telling a senior player, I understand Manu is like very young as well. So they're like basically the same age, but he's like, are you going to do your job? You going to go get that guy? And Kobbie Mainoo is more concerned about the line getting pushed up. It's like, go close down the player. You're a midfielder, dude. Like, you're not even a defender. Like, you know? And the thing is, you think like, oh, maybe this is the start of him going to go close him down. Nope. He's not even closing him down at this mild, leisurely jog that maybe I would take in the morning, right? No, he starts walking. If I started this right now, he would start walking towards the player. That's how crazy that is. That is insane. Insane. That is a clear message that Kobbie Mainoo does not care anymore. Doesn't give a shit. Nothing. Right? And again, I mean, it's not like he's gotten picked for he's not like really getting time either. So Kobbie Mainoo is obviously like not getting time and he's pissed off about that. Right? This one, Diogo Dalot. Oh, and also, by the way, in the other games, I also wanted to note in these, because like, again, I just want to just like highlight, because these things matter because they're you're at a high level of professional sports. So you're not like that I would have any experience in that, but I'm just saying, right? Diogo Dalot here comes just taking out 55 minutes, right? For Ahmad, who is like essentially like a winger, right? I'm sure that Dalot was probably pissed about that. He's like, dude, you're going to take me off for like a winger who Ahmad is like 23 years old. Like he's like still a young player. He's like, dude, what the hell? I'm getting taken off this. And then the other thing too is, also, I wanted to go with Kobbie Mainoo here. Mainoo is, oh my God, if I could just, did not get brought on. He's on the bench. Unselected, right? Kobbie Mainoo wants to play. He wants to be in the England squad. There's a World Cup this summer. You know what I mean? It's like there's a World Cup. Like all these guys they want to make their big move. They want to play every day, right? It's necessary because you need to be able to play. You need to be a regular, all that stuff. So these guys, it only comes around once every 4 years. You only get like 3 of them in your career. You have to force everything you can. That's why we're seeing all of this crazy activity. Isak is sitting out because he's pissed off because Viktor Gyökeres, another Swedish striker, got a big move. He's the big star striker at Arsenal. He might win the title, right? Isak can't be at Newcastle. He can't be at Newcastle anymore, right? There's a World Cup coming up this summer. He wants to be the main starting striker for Sweden at the World Cup. That's what this whole thing's about, right? It's like, that's the players' mindsets. They cannot be like sitting on the bench, building their resume. They're like, my time is now. If they're not, if they're not in the World Cup squad, they're thinking about how can I get in the World Cup squad, right? That's what this whole thing's about. Here, the lineup. Ahmad is starting over Diogo Dalot, right? Dalot's like, dude, I am a right wing back, and you're putting on this kid who's like literally an attacking right winger instead of me, right? And yeah, I mean, Kobbie Mainoo not selected again. So the window's closing soon, and he's pissed off Ugarte not getting selected, pissed off Diogo Dalot not getting selected, pissed off Kobbie Mainoo not getting selected, right? So, and then he starts all 3 of them, and they're like, nah, screw you, dude. I'm literally not doing anything, right? That is the dynamic here, because Ugarte wants to play for Uruguay. You got England. Ivory Coast, and Portugal. That's the dynamic that you're seeing here. All of these guys are like, I need to play now. Anyways, walking, right? Sure, that'll get you in the squad. Diogo Dalot doesn't close him down on the wing, right? He gets the ball, he gets to turn, he has to look at the entire field, and then Diogo Dalot shows up, right? So it's like he has a full bearing of his situation. Here, Patrick Dorgu, I don't know what you're doing, dude. Ball gets popped up. This is the second goal. Literally like Onana clashes into Harry Maguire and the other Grimsby guy. There's 3 Grimsby players. Everybody does not even track their player. They don't even consider him whatsoever. Dorgu is looking at the ball, looked at the whole time, it got popped up, and then when it's coming back down, Dorgu is making a nice, cute turning run for a counterattack. The ball is unclaimed at the 6-yard line, right? There are 3 Grimsby players around Onana who's currently falling down because he missed the punch. So that's that. And then lastly, De Ligt was the right-sided center back here because he replaced Fredrickson. And so Harry Maguire, so he comes in to take on this guy. Bruno Fernandes decides to not cover his runner anymore, so he closes in. So now you got a free runner. I don't even know who this guy is. Basically was behind him the whole time, didn't really do anything. And so Harry Maguire now has to shift downwards because obviously De Ligt moved up, and that leaves him split between 2. He can't let him just go down, and he can't let him go, right? So this guy chips it in to this runner who then just waits in the box, waits for runners, waits for everybody to be open. Heaven is actually giving a shit about this and is still marks his man the entire time. Diogo Dalot is up here, and this is his man. Not even on him. He never gets on him. Never ever gets on him. Doesn't track him whatsoever. So that's that. And then Heaven stretches really, really, really long, and the point where it's it could have hit here, it could have hit here. You've seen him called, you've also seen him not called. But Heaven actually cared. And that was literally the bare minimum of it. But I do find it interesting again, they're down 2-0 and for Amram to get bailed out, he picks the 3 guys that actually are playing well at the moment. Buemo, Bruno Fernandes, and Matthias de Ligt, right? Brings it on because the kid he's a kid. Fredrickson was not even that good anyways. Ugarte, again, Ugarte was showing us that he didn't care, right? And then Buemo came on. Dorgu, I don't know what's going on with Dorgu, but Ahmad should have been taken off. Mainu, what's funny about Mainu is I don't know if he left Mainu on to just say screw you, or because I would have just taken Mainu off. I'm if you don't want to play, dude, I will find a player who wants to play. No problem. Don't worry about it. So anyways, this is all to say, this is a game that I don't know if I've ever seen before. I don't know if I've ever seen players play in a way to try and get the manager fired. And again, you got Garnacho out there actively rooting against Man United, basically in these subtle Instagram posts. What is he saying behind closed doors to his friends and texting other teammates and stuff? Do you know what I mean? I'm where, and this is where I am with Man United fans. I'm where do you think you are? Where you have that much hostility amongst players towards the organization openly. Rashford, in an interview, talked about how he's oh, there's just too much chopping and change. There's so much going on. We have all these issues. I'm you have a lot of players who don't want to be there. Andre Onana. This is another great example. Andre Onana, brought in by Ten Hag, right? Got let go. Okay. Andre Onana then starts games, makes howlers, gets dropped to the bench. So now he's lost a manager that believes in him. He makes howlers and the fans get on him, right? He drops to the bench. Now the guy who was behind him last year, Altay Bayındır, is now ahead of him, right? So he's like lost his job. He's hated by the fans. The new coach doesn't rate him. The old coach is gone. Do you know what I mean? It's like, this guy doesn't want to be here anymore. He doesn't want to be here anymore. And so it's like, you put him in this spot and it's like, you might as well just put Binder in there. Like, honestly, because or you put in like an under 23 player, you know, like some kind of youth academy product in that spot. You do not put Andre Onan in there. He does not want to play anymore. It's over. Like, you know, because it's okay if you have a guy who's from a previous coach, but if you're gonna have the fans shit on him, the previous coach is gone, and the new coach doesn't care about, like, doesn't rate him, right? Like, and the guy that he was better than last year, who's the number 2, he's going to replace you as number 1. Like, the whole thing, it's like, he's got a complete erosion of confidence and he doesn't want to be there. I'm just like, what are we talking about? Like, why put him in this spot? And also like, Amram needs to have conversations with these guys. They're like, do you want to be here or not? Like, I mean, it's because like Todd Mainu clearly doesn't want to be there anymore. Diogo Dalot doesn't want to be there anymore. Ugarte looks like he's wavering, if I'm honest. I'm sure Xerxes doesn't care to be there anymore. Yeah, I mean, oh my God, I cannot believe what I watched. All right, I'm going to move on. It's going to be the West Ham and Wolves. I just want to talk about those two in a separate video. But yeah, my God, I just wanted to talk about it because this is like so insane. I've never watched a game like this.